It is 6:30 p.m. Cameroon time. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us on Primetime News on My Media Prime Television, coming to you live from Douala, Cameroon's economic capital, with me, Fon Quinter. Let's begin today's edition of Prime News in the South region, where a man in his early 20s has narrowly escaped death in Kribi after a heavy-duty truck almost crushed him. He was rushed to the city's district health unit, where he is currently receiving medical attention. Nolinga takes us to Kribi, South region of Cameroon.
This is exactly where the bloody scene splashes the eyes of witnesses as this victim, currently being attended to by medics from the firefighting unit, narrowly escaped instant death. The disturbing accident, which occurred around the Nkobiteng ultra-modern market, has been attributed to the recklessness of some drivers and the wrong parking of vehicles at the Transcam travel agency in the seaside city of Kribi. But who saw this live? Well, the heavy-duty truck was about being parked while the victim, who had a bucket, was passing in between the truck and the Toyota pickup, which was on reverse. So due to this collision, the man landed on the ground while the truck, upon settling, crushed the man, and that's where he fell.
Le temps que je fuis le pick-up là pour rentrer derrière là, j'ai juste entendu le bruit. Quand la tête du camion était déjà passée, le reste de derrière là, avec les roues arrière là, ça va complètement froisser au véhicule qui faisait la marche arrière, derrière comme ça là.
Il est parti, le camion là, poussé le gars là, il est tombé, il a tourné, il a tapé dans le temple à votre.
With all three witnesses recounting the same story, blood is what has been left on tar as members of the firefighting brigade immediately arrived at the scene to attend to the victim. Meantime, sources say the recklessness of drivers here, as well as the careless parking of vehicles by drivers around the Transcam travel agency and the Biteng market, is a cause for concern.
Now, CPDM militants in the Donga Mantung 1 Kambe section of the Northwest region on Sunday joined in the celebration of Paul Biya's 40th anniversary as President of the Republic. Peculiar during the event was the massive turnout of the population, as Joy and Gong tells us.
Patriotism, cultural displays, pomp and splendor were the characteristics of the celebration of 40 years of President Paul Biya's accession to Supreme Magistracy in Kambe, Donga Mantung 1 section of the CPDM. Speaking on behalf of the section president Ngala Gerard, the vice section president of the CPDM Donga Mantung 1 section reminded militants of the theme of this year's anniversary celebration, reiterating the need to rally behind the party's chairman, President Paul Biya.
To further strengthen our unity behind the President in his relentless effort for a Cameroon which is one and indivisible, decentralized, emerging in social peace, national unity, and accelerated development.
The mayor of Nkambe Council used the occasion to celebrate the efforts put in by the people to maintain peace in the division, a peace which he says is the gateway to development.
They don't use that iconography. The CC route, they come small time. They don't use that iconography. The CC is the one at number 2 for reference hospital for Northwest. It will come now for we. They don't still use that iconography. They see I'm saying anything where they for make agriculture, whether not for put thing them like fowl, whether not for make fertilizer, all that thing, they will see come now for we. And that's an ecographic. Don't talk say because we picking that they go school and some other picking they know they go school. When the one talk say position day, that position they will still come now for we.
The peacefulness of the Nkambe people was further endorsed by the senior divisional officer of Ndonga Mantung, there present during the celebration.
I want to use this one for thank Una, like the mayor don't talk. Una development, it got jump go before. Because Una be peaceful people. Una the language of peace. Una the language of unity. Una the language of oneness, spirit of harmony, spirit of togetherness, spirit of living together.
Activities of the day equally included a unity march, during which the militants showcased the message of their chairman, President Biya. The 40th anniversary celebration of Biya as president in Kambe could not be termed successful without performances from different traditional dance groups.
In a related story, CPDM militants of FACO joined their counterparts nationwide to celebrate Paul Biya's 40th anniversary in power. Activities in FACO division include sports, youth empowerment, as well as a donation of equipment to empower militants. Nicole Tako with details in this report.
Militants of the ruling CPDM party in the FACO division of the Southwest region came together on November 6, 2022 to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the President Paul Biya's accession to power. The mayor of Tiko during the celebration appreciated the head of state for his support in the FACO land.
Like I said, 40 years is not 40 days, it's not 40 weeks, neither is it 40 months. I think with the level of the achievement, FACO, there is evidence that the militants have to celebrate His Excellency President Paul Biya's 40 years in power. I want to say that I am overwhelmed with the turnout of the population, because sometimes people will say the party will die. It hasn't. I can say that everyone who have seen, except the witch, who will say that it wasn't a success.
According to the head of PDD, Mr. Franklin Goniji, the FACO land has benefited a lot since the reign of President Paul Biya, reason for their celebration.
The division has benefited as far as employment and construction stability is concerned. The list is long. If you look at infrastructure, the list is long. So, I mean, it's good for FACO division. We have every reason to celebrate.
Mr. Franklin Goninji added that the only thing Cameroon needs is development.
A country with so many youth population, more than how many percent? It is high. The only thing that a country like this can need is development, projects of development. And I think that CPDM party, for now, if you look at the political landscape, we stand very, very tall as a potent motor to carry such development strides.
Present at the ceremony was the SDO of FACO, Mr. Chaibu, as well as other CPDM militants. The celebration was crowned with motions of support addressed to the head of state, President Paul Biya.
Away from President Paul Biya's 40th anniversary, some elites of the Northwest region, led by former Prime Minister Philemon Yang, have been schooled on the functions of the Office of the Public Independent Conciliator. Northwest Public Independent Conciliator Tamfu Simon indicated their role is to foster the practice of good governance in the region. Get details in this report compiled for us by our Northwest correspondent Charles Kibwa.
The Office of the Northwest Public Independent Conciliator, after organizing seminars to sensitize mayors, SDOs, DOs, members of the Regional Assembly, Monday, November 7, 2022, at the Conference Hall of the Northwest PIC, presented the functioning of the institution to a cream of Northwest elites. Led by the Grand Chancellor of National Order, Philemon Yang, their presentations, questions and answers, explaining the functions of the Northwest PIC, a product of Section 62 of the 1996 Constitution, given the specificities of English-speaking regions with the context of a special status, issues they've carried out investigations upon notification by councillors. The Northwest Public Independent Conciliator Tamfu Simon Fai indicated the PIC is essentially a peace crusader and, as such, acts as a public pacificator, public advocate and watchdog at ensuring good governance in the regional, city and local councils, a daily reality.
The PIC is accompanying councils to function effectively, to minimize disputes with users and beneficiary populations.
The Grand Chancellor of National Order, Philemon Yang, an elite of the Northwest region present at the meeting, mentioned the PIC office is helping towards enhancing democratization.
Important, the Public Independent Conciliator is an important institution which has been put in place as part of the system of decentralization. If we do not understand what is being done by the Public Independent Conciliator, it would be a difficult situation for us. The PIC is helping us do good work and make decentralization more pragmatic.
While count on the elites of the region to foster their work, the PIC office is open to more contributions on ways and means they can work for a better future of communities and the region. Group photograph graced the day.
Now, the second edition of Cameroon International Trade Fair, which brought together stakeholders in the tourism sector, business and economic operators, has come to an end. The three-day event in Limbe, southwest region of Cameroon, was characterized by roundtable discussions as well as exhibitions. Get details right ahead.
Stakeholders charged with the promotion of tourism in Cameroon have been called to harmonize their strategies in order to promote the country's rich touristic potentials to the rest of the world. This message was echoed by the Secretary General at the Southwest Governor's Office, Fon Quinter, while presiding over the launching of the second edition of Cameroon International Tourism Fair at the Limbe Botanical Garden.
Tourism promoters coming from virtually all the divisions of the Southwest region to exhibit what they have to the entire world, to Cameroon, to the entire world. And it only goes to say that Cameroon is not just Africa in miniature, but the Southwest region, I can proudly say that is Cameroon in miniature. And I use this occasion to call on all promoters of tourism to throw their weight behind all the efforts that the state is making to drive it to another level.
Also present was the paramount ruler of the Bafo people, His Royal Majesty Fon Quinter, who says the tourism fair is a unique opportunity and an avenue to showcase the rich cultural values of Cameroon as well as create job opportunities.
Have the ability to invest, learn, and try to create impact in the touristic sector, because it is a sector that will make a great difference for your future. You should take it seriously in training, you should take it seriously in just every domain tourism is involved. Now, if we look at Limbe, for example, hosting this, there is need for even more hotel infrastructure. There is need for hospitals.
International participants, after visiting various exhibition stands, say Cameroon is indeed a place to be.
The fair is very great and very different to that what we know in Austria, because of all how you honor the guests and what you also present, the dances and everything, the environment. We don't have it, we have a cold weather, so it would be inside. So I'm very excited to be here.
The three-day event at the Limbe Botanical Garden took place under the theme Ecotourism Development, Harness and Valorizing Pertaining to Sustainable Development.
The new director of the Kribi District Hospital has organized a cleanup campaign in a bid to keep the health facility clean and conducive for caregivers and patients. This campaign, which comes up every Thursday, involves our hospital staff, as Catherine Ekongwe tells us.
The Kribi District Hospital now breathes clean air as a result of the managerial policy set up by the new director of the hospital. Few months since his arrival, the new director of the hospital has set up a mandatory health and safety service for all his staff every Thursdays.
Ce que je sais, c'est que on peut pas travailler dans un environnement sale.
What I know is we can't work in a dirty environment, especially as we are promoters of sanitation, because we can't talk of health when the environment is dirty. So it is a new move to always keep the hospital clean, and this sensitization we are doing is to call on all our collaborators adding that it is an instruction from the Minister of Health who advised on good quality health care, and all this begins from a clean environment.
La qualité des soins, et cette qualité commence par un environnement propre et sain.
Just few weeks after the launching of the activity, the face of this hospital has changed as the corridors and courtyards are now clean to the satisfaction of caregivers and patients.
For quite some time now, we have been practicing keep safe, do sleep. It is not only in town, we have it also in the hospital. So what we do every Thursday is that in the morning, we come and everybody works. Even the director himself is also working. And the people who are not working are those who slept, because we cannot stop the hospital to do the clean up. Everybody works, but those who sleep, they have to continue so that they will be taking care of the patient. So that is why if there is a conflict today for...
The clean environment in the hospital has facilitated the holding of the breast and cervical cancer screening campaign in a healthy environment.
Since the 24th of October 2022, the District Hospital of Kribi started screening for cancer in women, most especially the breast and cervical cancer, which are the major cancers in women that accounts for high mortality rate. It can be prevented only through screening and early initiation of treatment in order to save lives.
As the saying goes, good health depends on the cleanliness of an environment. The strategy by the new director is in respect of the instruction of the Minister of Health, who urges hospitals to provide quality health care to their population.
Still on health-related news, a report dwells on chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which has become the third leading cause of pulmonary deaths worldwide. It is with these that health organizations and experts are using the month of November to raise awareness regarding the health condition. Bukengo Wadi tells us more.
Also called COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease is a group of chronic lung disorder that blocks the airway of the lungs, making breathing very difficult. Being a common condition prevalent with middle-aged and older adults who smoke, many people do not know that they have the disease even when breathing becomes difficult, which gradually grow worse over time. Around the world, more than 370 million people have the disease, with 1,000 new cases recorded yearly at an increasing rate, caused by chronic bronchitis, tobacco smoking, exposure to secondhand smoke, air pollution, history of childhood respiratory infection, genes, abnormal lung development, asthma, age, exposure to chemical, poor diet, being overweight, family history, amongst others. The pulmonary disease takes the life of more than 3 million persons yearly. According to data from the World Health Organization, though the disease is highly preventable, many overlook its signs, taking it to be one side effect from their daily routine. Some of these signs include fatigue, weight loss, chest pain, chest tightness, wheezing, shortness of breath, tiredness, cough, low oxygen level, fever, chest pain, and more. With early diagnosis being key for proper management and treatment, keeping free and safe of COPD depends on our daily lifestyle choices. These include staying up to date with important vaccination, quit smoking, maintaining healthy weight, eat balanced diet, exercise regularly, avoid secondhand smoke, together with the combination of therapy as prescribed by medical health personnel so as to reduce prevalence, manage flare-up, as well as death tolls this November and always.
Now over 100 heads of state and governments are taking part in the 27th session of the United Nations Conference on Climate Change in Egypt, with calls for leaders to react promptly to the hazardous climatic changes that have led to loss of many lives this year, 2022. Nsah with details in this report.
The 27th session of the UN Climate Change Conference COP27 opened in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, with a poignant speech from United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, who urged nations to focus on global warming and its hazardous impacts, further brought to light by the war in Ukraine.
We cannot accept that our attention is not focused on climate change. We must, of course, work together to support peace efforts and end the tremendous suffering. But climate change is on a different timeline and a different scale. It is a defining issue of our age. It is the central challenge of our century. It is unacceptable, outrageous, and self-defeating to put it on the back burner.
Antonio Guterres also called upon world leaders to focus on the growing urgency of climate change and its hazards, further accelerated by the ongoing Ukrainian war.
Indeed, many of today's conflicts are linked with growing climate chaos. And the war in Ukraine has exposed the profound risks of our fossil fuel addiction.
Note that nearly 100 heads of state and governments are meeting for 2 days in Sharm el-Sheikh, facing calls to deepen emissions cuts and financially back developing countries already devastated by the effects of rising temperatures. Though China is the world's biggest current emitter of greenhouse gases, President Xi Jinping made it clear that he will not be attending this session of COP, while President Joe Biden will be attending after the midterms. The US, which is the second biggest emitter, plans to challenge. However, China's claim to global leadership on climate action with an array of new carbon reduction initiatives notes that the participation of these two countries is crucial as the US and China together are responsible for 40% of the world's gas emissions. The COP is also a venue for climate activists to be heard, as many of them peacefully protest for animal rights. While some embrace more drastic methods like throwing tomato sauce on inestimable art pieces in an effort to call attention to their cause. It is worth highlighting that a multitude of other crises, including Russia's war in Ukraine, soaring inflation, and the lingering effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, has raised concerns that climate change will drop on the priority list of governments. Worldwide, nations are coping with increasingly intense natural disasters that have taken thousands of lives this year alone and cost billions of dollars, from devastating floods in Nigeria and Pakistan to droughts in the United States and Africa and unprecedented heatwaves across 3 continents.
And to sport, some World Cup teams have begun releasing their final squad list for the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Senegal is the first African nation to make public her own 26-man squad, with Sadio Mane leading the list. Meanwhile, in this report, a young Besong Magdala takes interest in Cameroon's World Cup Open in Brazil and others. Our report.
Cameroon's last group stage opponent at the FIFA World Cup, Brazil, has made public their squad list for the World Football Jamboree to begin on the 20th of November. The list, made up of 26 players, consists of 3 goalkeepers, 8 defenders, 6 midfielders, and 9 attackers. The Brazilians, selected by head coach Adeno Leonardo Bacci, will go into the competition in search of a 6th World Cup trophy after about 2 decades, and has a deep, experienced squad ready to compete for it. Brazil, who are ranked first in the world, won their 5th World Cup in 2002 but have failed to reach the finals in the past 4 editions, since losing the Copa America final to Argentina in July 2021. Brazil has lost just 1 out of 29 matches since 2019. They are drawn in Group G alongside Cameroon, Serbia, and Switzerland. Equally, Denmark's 21-man squad list has been made known by head coach Kasper Hjulmand to represent the nation at the upcoming World Cup, with the remaining 5 to be made known on or before November 13. Ranked 11th in the world, Denmark's squad consists of about 6 Premier League players. Manchester United's Christian Eriksen, considered to be one of the best produced from Denmark lately, is one of those who leads the list. Their best World Cup result was obtained in 1998, where they lost to Brazil in the quarter-final. They made the round of 16 in 1986, 2002 and 2018 and have been to the FIFA World Cup 5 times, and this will be their 6th participation, though are still in search of a first ever World Cup title. Denmark is joining Group D with defending champions France, Australia and Tunisia.
That report concludes today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime Television. Prime, I'll be yours just after the news. My name is Fon Quinter. Have a blessed evening in the company of more programs on the African Eye. Good night.